It's May 2nd, 2024. I'm Todd Dunn, and today I'm back at the boatyard just to do a quick check. Let me turn the camera around and explain what I'm talking about. Yesterday I came over and sanded out the boot stripe, which was flag blue, which is very, very dark blue. And I cleaned it up and put the first coat of seafoam green on, which is the color I'm going with this year. Now it's going to need another coat to cover, and I came in today just to check it. It was pretty cold last night, down in the 30s, and the paint is still just the tiniest bit tacky, so I'm not going to be able to sand it and recoat it today. I'm going to have to wait until tomorrow, but we'll get it there pretty soon and get this color change for the boat done. And when the boat's in the water, I will go up and redo the cove stripe up there. It's just a little hard to get at with the boat out of the water. With the boat in the water, I can just walk along and do it without any trouble. I'm changing to seafoam green for one reason, and that is I had the paint and I did not have enough flag blue to recoat the boot stripe, and it definitely needed recoating. So yeah, so switch colors to what I had, and I kind of like this color. I think it's gonna make the boat stand out a little more than it had. Let me move to the other side of the boat where there's a little better light, because there's a door open over here and you can see it a little better. Okay, There you can see a little better how bright this color is. It's a very light green, and it should, I think it's going to look pretty good. Quite a change, though, from flag blue. Okay, so now I'm going to head over to the beach, and we're going to take a look at what we can of the Seawall Road, where it was washed out by big storms back in January and then again in March, and I'll tell you what I'm aware of that's going on out there. Okay, I'm driving over toward the seawall, which is at the entrance to Acadia National Park, and show you what's going on out there. We had two big storms this winter, actually three. Two of them sort of back to back on Wednesday and Saturday in mid-January, both of which overwashed the road out here and put a lot of rock on the road and ripped up the asphalt. And the road ended up closed. The state came out over the next month and repaired the road, at least with gravel, where the pavement had been ripped up, so that it opened briefly. And then in early March, we had another storm that overwashed the road, deposited a lot of rock on the road, and completely removed the repairs that the state had done. So the road was closed again, and it has remained closed. And as of the last time I checked, a couple days ago, the state, this is a state highway, had not yet committed to repairing the road. So, you know, they could get it open in a couple of weeks, but a full repair, which would involve rebuilding a good deal of it, probably take a lot longer. But they have not committed to do either yet. So the road is still closed, as you'll see in just a second when we get up there, when we get to where the road is closed. And right up here. I'm just going to pull off briefly and we will walk up a little bit. I can't go far because you go into Acadia National Park, and once you get into the park, I can't shoot video, so I can walk up a little and show you what it looks like. Okay, we're going to walk up the road to the park boundary, and I'll show you what's what happened, or what we can see of it from here. You can see they've got the road closed, and it's closed on the other side of the seawall too, just around the entrance to the Seawall campground. So if you want to get to the Seawall campground right now, you have to drive around through Bass Harbor, which from right here is about a 10-mile drive. Okay, you can see here there are rocks on the road. Those were all the way across back in March. The town of Southwest Harbor, however, cleared the rocks off a little bit here so they could get some heavy equipment in there, because during the storms, the water main over to the Acadia National Park Seawall campground failed somehow. The rocks in the seawall shifted, and the water main failed, and when they turned it on for the summer, they didn't get any water over there, so the town had to go in and dig it up. It runs alongside the road under the seawall, and so they had to go in, dig it up, and apparently they've got it fixed now. They were working on it a couple days ago, and they moved all their equipment out and are finished. We're right here at the boundary to the national park. I'm just outside the park. You can see where the road is torn up there. That's one of the lesser areas of damage. Up a little further, there's a culvert that goes under the road from the Seawall Pond here out to the ocean. And that culvert was completely washed out by wave action, and the road there is really torn up. You can walk across it, but I wouldn't want to try to drive across it. And then a little further up, you can see the sign up there. Just past that sign, there is a stretch of the road where about 100 feet of half of the road is gone. It was torn up by wave action. So this road remains closed, and there's no indication of when it's going to be fixed. And the State Department of Transportation has even suggested, although they say it's not a definitive suggestion, that the road may be abandoned. So at this time, I don't have any idea what's going to happen. Supposedly, they're going to try and schedule some public meetings and other things to make decisions. And it's a negotiation between the State Department of Transportation, the two towns that are impacted, Southwest Harbor and Tremont, and Acadia National Park. So, and I have not heard as yet of any public meetings, and there are supposed to be some. So we don't know what's going to happen, but it will happen at some point. In the interim, this has become a popular spot for people to walk right here along the ocean. I personally refer to it as the Seawall Shore Trail. It's a very pleasant walk across, and I'm not going to do it today while I'm shooting video, but it's a nice walk and very pleasant place to walk with no car traffic. So these rocks here are piled up by the storms. This used to be much lower, but what happened is the storms have moved the seawall inland. You can see where it went across the road here and into the pond. The rocks there on the side of the road we're looking at now weren't there before the big storms, and the pond extended right over to the edge of the road. So the seawall moved inland a little bit, and 3 storms now have reinforced that. So let me turn the camera around. So that's the state of the Seawall Road here at the entrance to Acadia National Park on Route 102A out of Southwest Harbor, Maine. And doesn't look like this road is going to get fixed anytime soon. And even if they announced it now and started working on it, they'd be hard put to get the road open again before the Seawall Campground opens for the season on May 22nd. So 3 weeks from yesterday. And also, there was significant damage to the Seawall picnic area across the seawall from here. And the last time I was over there a couple days ago, the road there was fully covered with rocks, and there were dozens and dozens of trees that blew down across the road and in the picnic area. And waves extended as far as, maybe 100 feet inland from the shore, washing rocks and picnic tables and everything up into the woods. So it was a real mess over there. And if you go look at the Acadia National Park website, though, you'll see that they do not indicate that the picnic area is closed. They just say that the footing may be bad, so be careful. But it is not a good place to go for a walk right now. Okay, I'm heading back into town now from the seawall where the road is closed. I thought I'd talk a little bit about some of the impacts that if they don't get that road opened until later in the summer or until next year. The motel back there remains open, but it will be and is now at a dead end. I saw today that Charlotte's Lobster Pound, which is right here past this old fire truck, right there, is opening Memorial Day weekend, but they're not going to have the through traffic. And there's also, we passed it on the way over, a camping store that really caters to people staying at the Seawall Campground, that is going to be a 10-mile one-way drive from the campground for people that are staying in a campground to go over there. And that's going to be, so if they don't get the road open, it's really going to hurt their business. And it's going to mean a lot less traffic to other businesses out here during the course of the summer. Now, the people who live here probably pretty positive about that. If there's less traffic here, it'll make it a lot nicer place to live without so many cars going by. So we'll have to wait and see what happens with that. Now, on the other hand, it's going to create some issues for the town of Bass Harbor, because everybody who wants to go to the Seawall Campground is going to have to drive through Bass Harbor to get to the Seawall Campground. They won't be able to drive around this way. And it will be a much longer drive, and will cause people a little inconvenience. And it will be a longer drive to get over to the rest of the national park, because it's about to Southwest Harbor from the Seawall Campground is about 4 miles. If you go via Bass Harbor, it's about 6.5 miles to 7 miles, and a lot of it's 25-mile-per-hour zone, so it'll take a lot longer. So that's going to also create a lot more traffic over in Bass Harbor. And I can assure you that people who live over there are not looking forward to having maybe 10 times as much traffic as they usually do. And I can say that with some conviction because I'm one of the people who lives over there. And here they are working on the road, and there's a detour around where they're working. So we'll go down here, make the detour. Don't mind it, because this takes us right down by the shore, which is always pretty. As you can see, it's overcast today. It was raining earlier this morning. Straight ahead, you can normally see the big hills of Mount Desert Island, but not today, just clouds. As we come down to the shore, of Southwest Harbor. Alrighty. And those big storms caused a lot of issues over here. Water was up over this road during the highest tide storm, the second one there in January. And up here a little further, there are a couple spots where wave action actually started to wash out the edge of the road. The Southwest Harbor Town Dock also suffered some damage, and it was closed to all uses for quite a long time. I believe they have reopened it, and they put the floats in, and they're still working on getting it ready for the summer. I don't know exactly what happened to the dock, but they did do some repairs on it. And I'll show you the spots up here where the erosion was starting to eat into the edge of the road. Because you'll see in a second, we'll see some cones along the edge of the road, and those are the spots where the bank was eroded right up to the edge of the road. Right here, the erosion is right up to the shoulder. I wouldn't want to go too close. And over here, it eroded up into the sort of turnout here, and quite a bit of the edge of the bank was eroded away. Okay, now we're going to go back up to the main street, and I'll say one other thing that is going to definitely be impacted, and I don't know how they're going to deal with it. Haven't seen anything yet, and that is the Island Explorer bus. One of the bus routes normally went out Route 102A here with a major stop out at the picnic at the campground. And you cannot drive through to the campground from this side, so the bus route, if it's going to continue over to the campground, is going to have to be diverted and go inland and then back out to the campground. And that's going to change the schedule quite dramatically, because it's going to probably add about 15 or 20 minutes to the route time, and they will have to drive out to the campground and then double back, and for about 4 or 5 miles. So it's going to be a bit of a mess, and that's going to cause some issues with the Island Explorer bus service. It's going to be much more difficult to get out to the Seawall campground and the Seawall area out there than normal, and it's going to mess up their schedule significantly. So I don't know exactly how they're going to accommodate it. I imagine they're pushing to get that road reopened, but as I said, I don't know when that's going to happen, or even potentially if it's going to happen. It is a state highway, and the state has made some noises about simply abandoning it to the ocean. And if that happens, either the national park could take over the road and rebuild it. I think rebuilding a road to federal standards, one, would cost a lot of money that I don't think Acadia National Park has in its budget, and probably because federal standards are pretty sticky, it might take quite a long time to rebuild that road and to meet federal road standards. So I don't know what's going to happen with it. We'll have to wait and see. So just about over to Bass Harbor here, and so I'm going to end the video. Hope you found it interesting, and my commentary is largely based on what I know from news stories and a few people that I've spoken to who are more connected than I am, and also from reading things like the town meeting minutes for the town of Southwest Harbor. So we'll see what happens. I don't know what's going to happen, but I'll let you know when something does. Okay, thanks for watching.